Hey, everybody, and it's going to be a great Monday. Happy Music Monday. I'm Sabrina Taylor, creator and host of Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide. How is everybody? I see you're already starting to come in. I want to say hey to Facebook first this week. I usually, if I can get it out, usually say hello to my YouTubers, but I want to say hi to all of those in Facebook land. How are you? And then now, my Facebookers, I want you guys to share, okay? Do me a favor. Sharing is caring, right? So let everybody know that we are here and we are live. Tonight is a special night because I've got some guests. Every Monday, there's a new guest, and we are here for storytelling purposes as well as to premiere their latest music. So I am super, super happy to have these two gentlemen smiling and in the chat with me. Visually, you guys are here. I love it. People are coming up in the chat. But Kevin, Marco,
How you
hey.
doing? Thanks for having us
Hello.
here.
Hello, everybody.
Yes, indeed. I am so welcome. Listen, first of all, welcome to the platform.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it is an honor to have you here. And we are going to share with everybody. I call it's like storytelling time because we see you on stage, we hear your music, beautiful, beautiful premiere. I love. Come on, okay.
Thank you.
It sounds like a Sirius XM type song, right? So I know you're saying, "Yay, add me, add me."
I know. Well,
I know, right? Toes, fingers, eyes, everything. Definitely Sirius XM worthy and ready. And so we want to just talk about Smooth Jazz Alley. Tell me a little bit, though, about, and we'll start with you, Kevin. I want to say that you seem to be the one in the group who, and I asked him this because his name's Kevin. I have a brother named Kevin who's like the funny one in the group. He looks quiet. I don't believe that one bit. You know what I mean? It's like he's the one standing, hovering over everybody, and he's got something like up his sleeves. And so, I just kind of want to start with you as far as your beginning, not necessarily with Smooth Jazz Alley, but music. Period. What do you remember as the catalyst for you loving music and getting into music?
I remember my mother. My mother was a huge, huge heart. First of all, I want to let everyone know I came from a broken home, and the only thing that my mom had was she and I, me and her.
Really?
And at one point, she would come home. She would get a cheap glass of. Remember the wine that everybody? I know everybody. You have to remember this. Remember the wine that came in a carton?
I knew you were going to say that, Kevin. Oh my God. I was trying to hold the laugh, right?
So we didn't have a lot of money. My mom was a nurse at the time before she became a doctor.
Oh, cool.
And she would buy that
box of wine, huh?
And she'd set it on the table. And she'd make me listen to. She loved Grover Washington and Bob James and all these folks that she introduced me to, and later in life introduced me to Bob James in person. As I was still a child, of course, but it was forever etched, and I was forever scarred with that man. And so, and I say that in a very, very nice, pleasant way.
Sure.
But you asked the question, what do I remember? My mother teaching me how to listen to music, and me and her just sitting at the table. Now I would have a glass of tea, and Marco, that's where that.
You're
That's where
going to make sure we understand.
that
You
makes
drank
sense.
tea.
Yes, yes, Marco, that's where that sweet tea comes from.
Yeah.
I would have a glass of sweet tea like Mama used to make, so we all know it was sweeter than C&H Factory, and it had her lemon in it, and she would sit across with that box of wine sitting on the table, and a glass, and she would put on Grover Washington or Bob James or David Sanborn,
Look at
and
that.
she would ask me all kinds of questions, and I won't get too deep into that, but that's what I remember. And then later on, because I'd come from a broken home, I really wanted to play sax. I really, really wanted to play sax. I love the sound of it. I wanted to be David Sanborn or Cannonball Adderley, if you will, a
Sure.
team. I wanted to be Grover Washington, but we were so poor at the time, and so my father would come over and visit every now and again, and just so happens he brought home a broken up drum set and something for me to play on, and that's how I took shape.
Really.
And
So everybody, in case they don't know, you play, but you're percussion.
I play drums,
Yeah.
percussion, and that's about it. Everything else is fake. I'll dibble and dabble on the keyboards, but I use the boards to get my point across to my brother, who's sitting there laughing at me. But for the most part, I hold down all of the percussion and all of the beat.
Yeah. And that's kind of weird. I mean, everything saxophone you loved, and I really would have, had I been on the outside listening, I would have thought, okay, so he's a saxophonist of the group, but you are holding it down with the drums.
Yeah.
So, what other instruments can you play?
I think I can play a little keys, but if you ask me what note, I couldn't tell you jack. I couldn't tell you any.
That'd be
All
Marco's. Yeah.
It's all ear. But now, when it comes to reading drum music,
Yeah.
that's me. I can read on the spot. I can go. I prefer not to because it's all about feel.
Yeah.
It's all about placement, and I
Yeah.
don't want to be in a box. I don't want our listeners to be in a box,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so we all think that way.
Wow. So, what made you choose drums?
Well, like I said, it was the only thing that we could afford at the time. I was beating on everything: buckets, lunch pails, boxes,
Backs
wall.
of pots? Huh?
Yes, I had my mom's old kettle things, and they all had different pitches and tunes and whatnot. So that thing with the kids beating with the younger generation beating on the buckets, that was long ago. I did that. Then
Look at
finally
you.
one day, Dad brought this beat up drum set over to Mom's house, and I never let go of it. I wish I still had it. I never.
Aw. Yeah. Yeah. Something at least to remember
Yeah.
the initial start of your love for playing drums. Sweet,
I
sweet.
eat, sleep, and dream it.
Do you really?
And I want the audience to know there's a certain color that makes me play, and I do not know why, but it's green and dark,
Green
green and dark blue. So
and dark blue.
dark blue. So I have a couple of green sets that that may appear on stage from time to time. One definitely in the studio. It's white grape actually, but I don't know what it is about it, but it just makes me play.
Look at you. Green and dark blue.
Yeah.
So what happens when you see these colors? I mean, are you like Garanimal? Do you remember Garanimal?
Yeah. So there's this creative type feel that comes over me. Like there's this I start creating landscape, and I create this foundation for everybody to stand on.
Look at that.
And I lay it out, and then my brother comes in with these melodic chords and the this lush flower patch, if you will,
Yeah.
this lush garden of sound, and then we get our little sister to come over the top and rough it up for us.
Okay. Oh wow. I see. I love listening to other people's stories because on the outside looking in, you just don't ever know what you're gonna hear.
Yeah.
And then when you hear it, it's like, wow. I mean, I'm just kind of blown away. I really thought you were gonna I mean, though I know if I were again on the outside looking in, oh, this guy's a sax player for sure. Nope.
There's something about the sax. There's something about the shape of it.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's sensuous. I think it's
Yes.
everything. But in in my mind, in my ear, I know how I want that sax to be. I know how I want it to sound. I know where I want to put it.
Oh, he
Sure.
knows it well. Yeah.
And
Really?
yeah, it was the first instrument that I ever wanted to play. So I'm infatuated with it. But drums is where the drums are where I live.
Drums are where you live. And you know, I believe, and I still have the Garanimal visual in my mind when I think of you now, Kevin. I'm so sorry. Um, I don't know what you're going to be able to
I
do
hope
to
it's good.
it is though. I used to love to watch him, you know, even though we know he wasn't real. But it's just the fact that they made him into this animated character that just entertained us. And so now he's forever seared in my mind. And so I just kind of correlate him with you. And you just entertain the heck out of us because that's basically what it's all about, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh wow, wow, Marco. You know I have not forgotten about you, not by a long shot. And you've been up there, kind of laughing and smiling because I bet you know some inside things about Kevin
Ooh,
that
sure do.
look
Oh yeah.
that you could
It's
probably
okay,
share.
bro. They're
That you
there.
could probably share. I'm going to let you, you know, if whatever you decide to share, I'm going to let you do that. But we're going to take our first break of the night. Can you believe we're already at a quarter of? And it
Told you
just doesn't.
we love to talk.
Of course.
I know we love it. We definitely love it. We've got comments that I have not even looked at yet. People are still coming in. And I want to tell everybody really, thank you so much. You guys know how much I like to talk. This is not their first rodeo with me, it's you guys' first rodeo with me. But I love to talk, love to share, and allow other people to share. So listen, don't go away, everybody. We're going to come right back with Marco's side of his story. And we've got music, we've got the premiere coming. Don't go too far. We'll be back in just a moment on Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide.
The Music Note Boutique has returned, offering must-have lifestyle go-tos from Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide. Grab your Black is the New White mug, our 25-ounce hot-cold travel cup, and our classic teas, available in an array of colors. Get your essentials now. Visit us at etsy.com/shop/The Music Note Boutique. Join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time to hear the stories of artists you love and discover artists you'll learn to love on Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide via Facebook and YouTube. The expansion continues. You can locate us on 10 affiliate radio stations, rebroadcasting Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide segments around the globe. Come on, join the indie community.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I'm Sabrina Taylor, creator and host of Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide. So happy to have you guys joining us tonight. Our special guest, of course, is Smooth Jazz Alley, and we just got through talking with Kevin. If you're just joining us, you gotta make sure you go back, and when you go back, hashtag replay, right? So I'll know that you came in on the replay. I really do appreciate the replay. But I want to talk to Marco. Marco, now I
Yeah.
know you got it. I know you've got a unique story to tell. What was it about music that drew you?
Hmm. Well, it definitely wasn't the three piano players that I had when I was a kid. They kind of turned me off. If I could say what originally got me going was my parents' patience. They
Yeah,
had rented a piano,
yeah.
put me through some lessons for a couple of years, and then I got to this really strict, super strict teacher because I kept outgrowing every teacher, and
Uh-oh.
she completely turned me off to theory and wanting to learn. I just wanted to play and have fun.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so my parents kept that piano just to see if I had any interest. And I'd sit on there and I'd play whatever's on TV shows. I'd turn on the radio and I just start playing. And somehow it just came very easy to me to play by ear. Now, my dad's a guitarist. And
Oh.
so I grew up listening to my dad play guitar.
Mhm.
And, so chord structures and tones and everything was very familiar to me when I started playing at the age of 7. So that's really kind of how I got started. Um, I didn't play with anybody for a while. And when I was 15, a buddy of mine, Ken Solis, our guitarist now, he plays guitar with us and keys. We got together, we made some videos in his garage, with whatever the pop music was at that time. They were very embarrassing videos that he's probably got someplace in his garage, and don't
I want
ask
to
him.
see.
No, no, no.
I'll mail them to you.
It's
Don't
still
worry.
I want to see.
he showed me, and I'm like, oh my god, you still have that? But yeah, so we made some horrible videos, but we had a great time doing it.
Of
And
course.
but as far as music, I mean, I grew up on a lot of R&B, pop music, and I got introduced to smooth jazz when I was 16. A buddy of mine gave me John Manning a CD, a George Howard CD.
Right.
And it kind of, I kind of didn't play it for a while because I was like, what's this? I never heard this guy, And when I finally played it, it just kind of had a fusion of like R&B and jazz. Now, my dad also, listened to a lot of jazz. So I grew up listening to a lot of jazz with my dad. And so I kind of started getting into that type of music. But in addition to everything else, I was playing I was helping my boys make hip hop loops and stuff back in the day. I was
No
doing
way.
freestyle music. I was heavy into the club scene. So, freestyle music like, Stevie B, Johnny O, Cynthia, all that kind of stuff. Pop music, whatever was on the radio, Michael Jackson, anything from rock to anything that was on pop radio or MTV. I mean, we grew up in the MTV era. So it was on MTV. I was playing it.
You were playing.
And yeah, but my gravitation was to R&B. So I listened to a whole lot of R&B. And of course, I did a lot of stuff on my own. My buddy Ken and I, we ended up getting some 4-tracks. Well, he got the 4-track, and then I got the 8-track because we always went up to each other.
Sure.
And I got the 16-track.
Right.
We had a lot of fun just recording music, and just recording whatever we could. And it wasn't until I think I was about 19, my mom introduced me to a friend of hers from church. I did play in the church also with my dad from like 12 to like 18. But my mom introduced me to a guy that she knew that had his own Latin band. And I didn't know they were like kind of cooking this whole idea up. Anyway, long story short, that was my first live band that I played with, and played with them for a couple years until the band, I guess he wanted to stop the band, and he ended up moving out of the country. And then I kind of continued with the singer, and we made our own band for the next 12 years. So I played a lot of live Latin music. And through that, I met a lot of other Latin musicians in the Bay Area. And, now I've pretty much played with a lot of the salsa bands in the Bay Area. And I'm still playing with, the band that I've been with for years, like 30 years. And but I always had this desire for jazz, to do smooth jazz.
Did you?
So the guitarist, Stan Evans, in my band, my Latin band.
Mm-hmm.
We got together when the band was over. I was like, hey man, I've been working on a couple of tracks, man. Come check this out. And he came over and we were messing around and we kind of threw this first album together. And and that was like, doing some Google researching and let's see if, music promotion. Then I'm getting on the radio, and then all of a sudden it kind of started taking off, and he didn't really sign up for that because he was getting ready to retire.
Oh,
So,
wow, really?
Yeah. I mean, he was, I remember calling him on the phone and be like, hey man, when are you going to come over? He's like, well, I'm sunbathing. So he was already getting into the retirement routine.
Yeah.
And long story short, he ended up leaving, and I met Kevin, and we clicked from day one.
Day one.
He checked out some of the songs, and he's like, I like this stuff, man. He's like, I want to work. I got some ideas, and man, the rest was history. He started calling people that I was like, I only dreamed that I would ever work with. And he just started making things happen, and here we are. So
really,
yeah.
So Kevin.
Yes, I'm here.
I didn't want to get too loud. Thank you, Marco.
Sometimes I hear that every time I see his text.
Oh my God. I love it. I love it. Kevin, who are some of your major influences on the percussion side?
Glad you asked. Can everybody see this picture right here?
Dave Weckl.
See that guy right there?
Right there, I think. Yeah, I see a corner.
A little bit closer, bro. A little bit closer.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, I was going to say, bring it up.
I mean, a little bit farther. Now we can't see anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to talk. It was Dave Weckl.
Is that who it is? Okay.
Dave Weckl and Steve Gadd and Harvey Mason. Didn't realize I was listening to Harvey Mason all the time when I thought it was Steve Gadd, and I didn't realize I was listening to Steve Gadd when it was Harvey Mason. And then Dave Weckl came along. But those are my three guys that, I'm old school as opposed to the younger generation of drummers these days. They are phenomenal and fantastic drummers these days. But those are the guys that I came up listening to and mimicked, kind of like Marco was saying. You'd hear something on the radio, or you'd hear something on TV or whatnot, and you'd make up your own song as opposed to something that you heard and
covering it.
When you listen to them, you go, well, what would that guy do in this situation? And that's how I came about. Really? Of course, there was the marching band and the school and all that kind of thing. And
yeah, as a drummer, I see that.
You know what I mean? So but drums is where I landed, and these are the guys that I gravitated towards, and it's been, I never looked back.
What about you, Marco? Who are some of your influence? Because you play keys, everybody. If you don't know, he's a keyboardist, and you compose and write and produce and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I never really thought I was a producer. I just kind of like I said, I started putting beats together for friends.
Yeah.
I kind of pulled that out of him.
He actually did. Here's some of the stuff that I was creating when I first met Kevin. I can't even listen to it now. But he just, Kevin got producer Matt Godina to start producing a couple songs, and I've just learned so much just by working with him, listening to some of the stuff that he's done. It's helped me up my game as far as how I create some of the elements I sprinkle in. And of course, I can't, Kevin adds a whole different element to that because there's very few, I know a ton of musicians. There's very few people that can hear all the nuances that Kevin hears. I literally can count maybe him and somebody else I know, buddy of mine. Wow. And so somebody that has that insight creating, to me is like gold. I'm like, whoa, these guys are hearing stuff that I don't, because I'm used to everybody telling me, oh, I didn't hear that. So that added a whole lot to what I was doing, and just everything I've learned from Matt Godina has just taken everything to a different level. Yeah, but I never set out to be a producer or anything. I did again, making beats and stuff. So my whole thing was, if I make something and have somebody else come on the top and do something. Back then as a
Ah,
singer, or rapper back in the late 80s.
sure.
But when I started thinking about that with if it wasn't for Kevin, I wouldn't even have had these thoughts. But have you ever thought about a saxophone? I'm like, no. Have you ever thought about being an artist? I said, no. I mean, you want me to go solo and be a piano artist? And I'm like, no, man, no, it's not. That's not what I want to have. Guitar. I want to have. Well, I mean, I guess we could do, And so we had a lot of conversation.
Yeah,
Came
yeah,
on board. But
yeah.
really, it's I never really thought about any of that stuff.
I think of that. Yeah.
Keyboardists. I mean, to me, one of my first concerts that blew me away was when I went to the Oakland Coliseum and I saw New Edition, I'll Be Sure, and Bobby Brown.
See?
And I was just like, oh man, I want to be on stage playing like those dudes. You know what I mean? I don't know who they were, because this was again back in the
day. Yeah.
That to me, that concert blew me away. And
Right.
immediately I was like, I want that keyboard. I want that keyboard. And I started going after
Gravitating toward. Yeah.
and I started playing that stuff and the original sounds that came out of that.
Man.
And that for me was like gold, joy.
And you know what? I love when things are authentic, because one of my questions is, what was that a catalyst, or that thing that drove you to make the decision to pursue, being a keyboardist? Kevin, for you, what was that? Do you have a moment, a time and space?
I just as a child, my mom and I would get in the car and we'd get on the freeway.
Mm,
We lived in Southern California. We would come
got
up
it.
to the Bay Area
Mm-hmm.
all the time, especially in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought to myself, that's where I want to live. I'm not living in Southern California. I want to live in Northern California, because the very thing in the background is that bridge. I fell in love with it. But in between that transition, I would always dream. So going to school, here I go, roundabout way, but you'll get it. I would sit in class and you would be the teacher and you'd just be talking away and teaching away. And I'd be watching you and I'd be that perfect student. But guess what?
What?
I was not paying attention to you.
Oh, Kevin.
I was on
Or at least you're being honest.
yeah, I was on the road. I was on the road, traveling, going across country, and making this music up in my head.
Of course.
And creating this landscape. And I would put that together with the music that my mom would have me listen to. And that was my catalyst. That's how I came about. That's what shaped me, if you will. That's what formed.
Yeah.
And so now Marco and I often talk about, sometimes I have to go and record drums in LA and whatnot. We love road trips. Believe it or not, I can tell you the track, Whatever You Like. It's got Nathan East on the bass. That's how that track came about.
And
I can tell you some other tracks that came about when we were going to LA, to Los Angeles, to record drums, just to get the drums down, because that's where I record. And by the way, those drums are dark blue.
Oh, is it really?
Yes. And so I can just tell you but it's over. What I'm trying to say is the road trips, scenic is what drives me. We created a track, and I can't wait for you to hear it at some point in time. It's called River Don't Lie. The River Don't Lie. We put some big artists on there, but that track came about when Marco and I were taking his son skiing, and we were sitting in the lodge watching all this white snow, and he had a little keyboard and workstation, and he would do something and I would do something on the workstation. And of course, he's the keys.
Of course.
And so we built this thing, and that's how that evolved. But again, it was a road trip.
Right. Another road trip.
That's my whole point. It was a road trip. So that's what kind of shaped me as a child, as growing up, whatnot, and that's how it came about.
Yeah, it's as if when you get the wind in your hair. I'm not poking at you, Kevin. I promise you, I'm not poking at you. This is exactly, so to speak, right? So you get the
Yes.
wind in your hair, and that's when it seems your creativity
Yeah.
just starts to expand and explode. And so it just looks like so. Are you always traveling when you get on the road to is that like your start now if you get like writer's block, which we'll talk a little bit more down into the conversation about writing and how that happens, but just for the point of reference to what we're talking about now, if you get writer's block, do you get in your car and let the top down and
Yeah,
drive?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I spent a lot of time on the coast here.
Oh, look at you.
A lot of time.
Wow.
And
That's
Marco does too, likewise. Marco spends a lot of time
Marco too, huh?
on the coast and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's another segue for another track that everyone will get to hear. Will be our second single, which is we call it Half Moon Bay, HMB.
Huh.
It's a bay. It's a bay within our community that we go down, and it's beautiful. The landscape is beautiful, and it's up the California coast, and
Yeah,
it's awesome.
absolutely. And you've got a third member, and she's phenomenal. She's not here tonight. And
Can I say something?
you can.
So we call her Sissy.
No.
Her name is Otoe. For everybody, her name is Otoe Mori.
Oh, Toe, you guys.
But we call her
Otoe.
Sissy.
Yeah.
And we call her Sissy. And
Oh,
she's the cutest thing.
and she is.
And you
adorable.
see her with a sax, and you think about it, and you say to yourself, what is she going to do? What's she going to do with this sax? What's she going to do?
She will rip up a place. Man.
Marco, take over.
Yeah.
She
You don't expect to hear what you hear until you see her take the stage.
a power
Once
pack.
you do that,
It's over.
dude, everybody just gets captivated and kind of just like, wow, because she owns that sax. Now, if you talk to her, she's, very, very sweet, very nice, very kind.
Oh my gosh, very deceiving.
You know what I mean? So you don't expect, that sound to come out of that sax when you have a conversation with her.
That is amazing.
And not only that, because she's a performer. So there's a saxophone player. There's I play with a lot of them as well. So they sit in the back line, they play.
Yep.
But then there's a performer. She is both. She can get out there in the front. She can walk the crowd, and she's not timid when she's got that sax and she's playing that sax.
It's a whole nother. That's a whole other ball.
Oh wow! Wait a minute. I want to hear about it. I want to get rid of this last commercial so we can chat and listen to music, so we can literally hear her on the premiere. I'm so excited about them hearing the new release. So listen, guys, do not go far because we've got more conversation and the coveted music premiere right here on Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide.
Join us every Monday at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time to hear the stories of artists you love and discover artists you'll learn to love on Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide via Facebook and YouTube. The expansion continues. You can locate us on 10 affiliate radio stations, rebroadcasting Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide segments around the globe. Come on, join the indie community. The Music Note Boutique has returned, offering must-have lifestyle go-tos from Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide. Grab your Black is the New White mug, our 25-ounce hot-cold travel cup, and our classic teas, available in an array of colors. Get your essentials now. Visit us at etsy.com/shop/The Music Note Boutique.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. I am Sabrina Taylor, creator and host of Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide, and I want to show you, I want to get my little um, tea, I don't know what you call this thing, like a tea tag, out of the way. You can actually see the mug. It is really pretty. It's actually on both sides there, right? And it's very substantial. Black is the new white. I love the black over the white. You can also order it in white um, if you like, if that is your preference. I'm going to put this down. Then I'm going to show you this. Looky, looky, looky what I have. So this is actually, I hate that you got all of this distortion. There we go, in the right place. So 25 ounces, yes, it is. And it's on both sides, yes. And, compared to my head, I'm not trying to be funny, but it is very, very substantial. And it keeps hot things hot and cold things cold. So if you guys want to go and take advantage of either of those, then please go to etsy.com/shop/the music note boutique and check out what I have there. So, I've got some special guests on tonight. I've got Kevin and Marco from Smooth Jazz Alley, and they were talking about their third man, if you will, of the group and how amazing she is on sax. Marco, you were sharing, and I want you to continue with that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, she's again, she's amazing. She's been performing for many years. Um, but again, I think what shocks everybody, she's got this really soft voice. She's almost got this timid, voice when she speaks. Again, she's very sweet, very kind, very nice. But then when she starts playing that sax, do not expect what comes out of there. And again, she'll walk the stage, she'll own it, and she's doing all these moves that you see all these top sax artists doing when they're performing on stage. And
Right.
I mean, I don't even, I don't do that. I can't do that. I just play. I have to like force myself to do it, and then I feel awkward, and I probably look awkward. I don't know, but it's just so natural to her.
Sure. Sure.
And Kevin, he's pretty natural at it once he's got some bubble gum in his mouth.
So you chew, you can play and chew at the same time. Oh,
Yes.
you got rhythm, my brother.
Most Kevins chew gum.
And you are right. I promise you. You are so right. Absolutely. So
Zoe is this little girl. She has a very petite, small frame,
she's tiny.
and
Yeah.
I can even imitate her, Marco. So we're in the studio sometime, and she'll say, Marco, did I play that the way you wanted me to play it? No, sissy, go in there and do this and do that. And she'll go in there and she will.
It's all love.
She will shred the studio.
Jeez.
And then she'll come out and she goes, okay, how do I sound?
She's whispering. Why is she whispering? Oh my God. Oh Lord. I wish she were here. Oh my goodness.
She's super cute, super funny. But let me tell you, Marco couldn't have said it any better. When she gets up on the stage, the first thing you think is, what's she gonna do with the sax?
She is the main attraction for us. I mean,
is she really? I can see
out front.
We have to tie a rope on her when she goes off stage because it's the only way we're gonna get her back.
Make sure you get her back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is too cute. That is too cute. So I wanted to ask you how you met. How did you, Marco and Kevin, meet?
Well, it was during the transition. So when my original partner who was
Right.
for just the first album
Right.
said he didn't really want to continue. It was kind of going a direction he didn't expect it to go.
Hmm.
Um, I was searching for somebody first of all to replace the guitar because we had already started some songs on the second album,
Got it.
and I think I was flipping through smoothjazz.com just looking on the charts and stuff and
Yeah.
just looking for a guitarist and somebody I could reach out to through social media.
Sure.
And I found Joel De Rosario. I think I don't know what I saw something that said Seattle on it. It's a song of his, and I thought, oh, he's on the West Coast, cool. So I reached out to him. Well, turns out he was actually in San Francisco, and he had a song called Seattle. So got together with him, had some coffee, and I was like, look, man, I'm looking for somebody to finish up the album, and he was looking for a keyboardist at the time to do some performances for his shows.
Sure.
And so we kind of was like a mutual thing. Well, the first rehearsal we had for a show that we got, Kevin was the drummer. And I remember, I'm again, years of playing salsa. I played with some great musicians. Every time I ever played with a band that had a drummer,
Hmm.
it was okay,
Just okay.
just okay. I was like, okay, yeah, okay, cool. We got a drummer. Nothing that ever blew me away
Right.
until we got in that first rehearsal, and I heard Kevin play. And
Uh-oh, Kevin.
Kevin and his playing intimidated me. I'm like, these guys aren't messing around.
You're kidding.
And I'm like, now I feel like the weak link because I'm the guy that come and I'm just getting into this genre, and these guys have been playing for
Forever. Yeah.
So that really intimidated me. He knows that. I told him. But again, what I learned was these guys were used to playing with touring musicians.
Exactly.
There's a difference in quality when you're seeing touring musicians play versus local musicians.
Gotcha.
They just do local stuff. Not to say that I'm not trying to minimize local.
No. I totally
But
get
when
it.
you're going on tour, man, you're not playing
Gotta
around.
bring your A game. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what I heard. And so, that's how I was introduced to Kevin. I was intimidated. I think it was the second rehearsal that we had some similar opinions on some things that were going on. And I was like, look, man, I've got some music, man. I'd love for you to check it out, And he said, yeah. And I played a couple, on my iPhone right there. He's like, oh, no, this is good. And so that's how we connected.
How you connected.
And now the business relationship I didn't know started very early before I knew it started because he called up bassist Roberto Valli to play bass on a track that I didn't know what I was going to do with. We didn't have anything solid on it yet, and then he got Carmen Grillo.
Grillo, and then I put Brandon Fields on.
And Brandon Fields, yeah. And I was like, wait a second, man, this doesn't sound like this.
Your eyes got pretty big there.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem. I didn't know what Smooth Jazz Alley was going to sound like because I was only used to working with Stan.
Got it.
When all this was happening, I think I was in shell shock. Then Kevin went and he got Matt Godina to produce a track. And he's like, this is going to be a piano track. I was like, what? What about guitar? What about sax? What? And all of a sudden, like, I found myself like, what direction do I want to go in?
Sure.
I don't want it to be a free for all. And,
Right.
I got all this stuff going on. I feel like we need to have some kind of an identity. I don't know what that is. I knew what it was. So it kind of started like this whole process of like, who is Smooth Jazz Alley? Fast forward. Now, Kevin wasn't officially on board, but, he was there and we were, I was bouncing all the ideas off of him. And it wasn't until we got a few tracks, I think, from Matt Godina, and then we had a couple of other tracks, and he had gotten Title. So there was a track called Title that Stan and I had started. Stan actually wrote it, and Kevin's like, "Yeah, you know who would sound good on that? Chieli Minucci." And I was like, "What?" And I didn't think about anything like that. So he called him up. He got his number. He called him up, and hey. And when we got that track back,
It
blew me away. It blew me away. And
it was glorious. But we didn't stop there, though.
That's the first moment I caught the vision of where we were heading.
Yeah.
And then Kevin, of course, he couldn't leave it alone. Right? He was like, what do you think about getting a sax on there? I was like, no, there's a guitar track. Did you hear what that dude did? This is a guitar track. This isn't a sax track. Just bear with me for a minute. So, I was very resistant. I'm a creature of habit. I'm like my dad. And, and I was like, all right, I guess, And so he went and he got Andy Snitzer on there. And I was like, whoa, and that just kind of blew me away, to a whole nother level. So once that track was done, I think that really gave me a vision of the potential, that Kevin had brought. And again, it just like completely just blew me away. And then I was like, hey man, do you actually want to officially be part of this project? And he said, yeah. And ever since then, man, it's been so much fun. We've gotten a lot of special appearing artists on our work. I've met a lot of people through Kevin, and again, these are people I grew up listening to on smooth jazz radio shows. And here we are now, we're talking to them on the phone, and we're having them on our album, on our music. And I was like, whoa, it's just, again, so second album was the official Kevin is in Smooth Jazz Alley album. Two of the songs Joel DeRosario did guitar work on. And then Kevin had gotten a bunch of, again, these amazing artists, Carl Alberto, Eric Marienthal, LeBron Dennis, just all these different artists. And I'm just like, whoa, man, I never, ever expected this. And ever since then, I mean, we've been having all kinds of fun. So it's like, who are we going to get next, And I told, we were talking to somebody recently, I think the high point of that was this track that we had. He mentioned River Don't Lie. Yeah. And I was like, man, what sounded really good? And I was just playing. Michael McDonald would sound great on that. And then he's like, Michael McDonald, okay, all right. And I'm like, and I started laughing. So he calls me up one morning. He's like, hey man, I just got off the phone with Michael McDonald. I'm like, I thought he was playing. I was like, no, you didn't. He goes, yeah, I did. I pitched the song to him, and he said he would love to check it out, but he's busy. He's getting ready. That's when they were getting ready to go back on tour, do this whole album that came out. Right. And I'm just like, and I'm like, did you seriously talk to him? Did you mention my name? Like, do these people know I'm here too?
Oh my God. So Kevin, how are you getting connected so well into, to where you can just pick up a phone and just haphazardly, so to speak.
It is haphazardly.
Call someone and say,
hey. I make friends with everyone, and I'm from Southern California. That's where a lot of the musicians are based. Right. So I've played for a lot of them. Very long.
Yeah.
And so I just happen to, sometimes I don't know the person right away, but I know a guy who knows a guy who knows that guy.
Who knows that guy, right?
And I never burn bridges. There's been musicians, or there's been shows that I didn't want to be a part of.
Sure.
I'll just throw that out there. But you're in the light.
Right.
And so you do your best.
Right.
You may not want to go back, but they want you back.
Right.
So you make friends with a lot of people. And so you keep those contacts. And so when I need somebody, I can call them.
You can just pick up the phone.
I pick up the phone and I could
just call them.
Michael, true to that, was no different. And so, again, like Brandon Fields, I didn't know Brandon Fields, but I knew a guy who knew Brandon Fields.
Sure.
And Brandon Fields was ready to go on vacation. Now, Brandon Fields had just, the last time I'd heard from Brandon Fields, he had just finished something with Quincy Jones. Mm-hmm. And I forget what album it was, but it was one of his biggest ones. It had Take Six. It had Queen Latifah. It had all of those on that.
Sure.
Juke Joint.
Right.
He had just finished that, and so that it came full circle, and so it's just it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
This track, River Don't Lie. We call it River Don't Lie, but it really should be River Doesn't Lie. So, but on that track, we had actually multiple musicians, but the track wasn't right. And Marco and I are sticklers for something that we just will not let get out of our sight until we put the right people in the right place,
in the right places,
the right sound,
yep,
what we intended the track to be.
Right.
So, we ended up with our last guy. We ended up with Chris Camazzi on guitar. We put Jimmy Haslip on bass from the Yellow Jackets.
Oh, wow.
And then we put Impromptu. Gosh, I can't remember what's his name. Impromptu. All our listeners, I know you know who Impromptu is.
Hold on, man. I'm getting like, I'm here on the spot now, and I'm like,
and he's a great trumpet player, and he also his vocals are silky smooth, like Pete Blasco. So anyway, we put those cats together, and Marco and I are sometimes known for putting artists on one track that would never ever cross paths. Like Keanu Minucci from Special Effects, everyone knows who Special Effects is. Andy Snitzer, the last time you heard him was on Bob James' Restless album. Andy and Kelly would have never crossed paths if it had not been for Marco and I.
Yeah. But I wanna go back to you guys. This is a lot of networking and connectivity, which is awesome, because when you guys are in composition mode and you're ready to do something a little different than you did before, you've got this Rolodex, so to speak, of names that you can just go in, and pitch, and it looks like 99.99999% of the time they say yes, right?
Yeah.
I'm really impressed, because that doesn't happen a lot. But I want to ask you guys on the flip side of that. So now it's the three of you, and what challenges have you faced along the way? I mean, it just seems like everything is aligning for you, but we all know there's some good and there's some bad and the indifferent. But in the scheme of Smooth Jazz Alley, what would you say is one of your greatest challenges?
I can speak to some of that.
Okay, Kevin.
Marco and I are super protective of one another. Super duper.
Super uber.
Yeah, super duper. Super duper. I want everybody to say that word with me. Super duper. We are super duper protective.
Yeah, I get it.
Especially in this, I like to call it this thing of music. This thing you call music. There's a lot of do's and don'ts out there.
Right.
And we have Sissy with us, so we're super protective of her, but we're super protective of one another.
Cool.
And there are times, there are times, very little, but there are times where we have to take a step back, and listen to what someone is saying before we have this, before we put up a wall, right? And we have to pull one another back. And Marco was like, "Bro, I think what he really said was this. What he really meant was this."
So you're working it out among you before you go into your plan of attack, so to speak.
Yeah, sort of.
Exactly.
Marco, am I right? Am I right, Marco?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been, I want to say, an equal amount of times where, look, Kevin and I, we are very similar when we're, I guess the right word is passionate about how we feel about something. And if somebody triggers our passion, normally one of us starts to spiral, and we start like, hey, you know
Mhm.
what? This, we start, saying all the things that we say.
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, okay, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, but we got to actually be careful how we come back and see the
Yes.
person, because there's politics involved. We don't
Always.
want to tarnish our name, and so
Exactly.
we have both equally done that, I want to say. Um,
Mhm.
and it's it can be frustrating, from me talking him down because he's got some valid points.
Yeah.
And look, I want to go out and do what he wants to do, but we can't do that,
Right.
and vice versa. So we both
Yeah.
kind of were able to kind of calm each other down, so
Yes.
that, and
Equalizing.
whoever is the prevailing personality in the moment is the one that will actually go and and address what needs to be addressed. So
Right. Right.
now, we both have different backgrounds in our work. I've worked with lawyers for 30 something years.
Mhm.
Kevin is a city engineer at Palo Alto, so we're both very intelligent people.
Of
um,
course.
However, sometimes the right words need to be chosen, and I can get into the ring and have no problem doing that. I got to do that
Exactly.
with attorneys. um, and sometimes Kevin can do that because I'm going to go out of my mind, and now I don't care what words I use. So you know so it's
I
we
totally
kind
get
of
it.
complement
Yeah.
each other when it comes
Yeah.
to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, it just to kind of solidify what you're saying. I I work with, you know, tons of artists all the time. But the one thing that I've learned is people won't tell you all of everything.
No.
So it is very, very crucial that all the information that you can get, you gather it. Because the instinct of a protector, because I'm that person, I'm a loyal protector. Um, and from things that have happened to me, things I've seen happen to friends, it's like, well, I'll be doggone if that's going to happen to one of my clients.
Yeah.
And so you know, automatically you're ready to, what you said, what?
Hmm.
You're ready to launch. You're ready to let them have it. But again, like you said, Marco, there's so much politics out there.
Yeah.
You don't want to tarnish your name,
Hmm.
and um, and I have a mouth.
So
I'm
do
the
we.
mouth of the South. I will love God, love people,
Yeah.
but I will let you have it. You know,
Yeah.
you were down and you're bleeding. Did she cut me? And I don't mean with a knife. You know, so I'm saying before I cut somebody, you better be doggone Skippy. You've gotten all the information to me. I know the ins and outs because I'm going to protect those I care about and those I
Exactly.
love.
Speaking of
And
cutting,
cutting?
yes, my little
Oh
sister,
no.
my little sister,
Oh, Lord! Lord.
she's the opposite. She's
Oh,
the little sister is the opposite. So
oh,
she cuts
God.
with her eyes. You ever
Uh,
seen an Asian
Yeah. Yeah.
cut with her
I want
eyes?
to hear her get
I've
upset.
This
seen those.
this
Oh,
little
my
Asian,
gosh.
this little Asian cuts with her eyes, and she's very quiet and she won't say anything. But that cut, she just
It's the eyes. I
it's
mean,
pretty funny.
whatever part of the anatomy, whether it's your eyes, your mouth, your fists, your wrists, whatever you do, it is just imperative that you have all of the information before
Well,
you
now you
launch.
said something important earlier, and that's something we both have to. We're both church-going men, and
Mhm.
so if if this happens on a Monday or a Tuesday, then it's like, wait a second, bro, you were just in church a couple days ago. Okay, don't yeah, it's not godlike. Okay, just remember. I know, but the word says that, and so we talk each other down in the
I
ways that we
love
make
it.
it work. Because
Oh,
I mean,
God.
let's face it. We all deal with that. No
We
matter
do.
what
We do.
business you're in, what industry you're involved. There's people are going to be people. So,
We'll try you. They will
oh yeah,
definitely.
oh they will.
But I want to ask you though, because we've got to get to the premiere. I want to ask you. I mean, I know you've got several. You've got a library because as I look in my favorite place, which is Spotify, I know it's a singles market. You guys have a lot of singles. Would it be safe to say you've got more singles um, than EPs and full projects? Um,
Um,
or are
we
you
do, but
balanced
these are singles that are actually on either the EP
under
or
the EP or the album?
yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of like the way it works. And I had to learn this over time, but you release a single and then you release it's kind of to help promote the album. Hey, the album's
Yep.
coming.
Right.
The single, right?
Yep.
And then Spotify has kind of changed that in the last couple of years because you can actually release a single and pitch it to Spotify,
That's
and
right.
they'll try it out in playlists and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
it's a whole strategy now. So it's almost like it's beneficial to an artist instead of just releasing an album, to release a few singles before, and hey, this album is coming, but check out this single, and it helps get listeners. If it gets on a Spotify curated list,
Playlist.
then it starts to increase your streams. So it's to your
Yep.
benefit. But versus an album, when you drop an album, you can only pitch one song. You can't pitch all the songs. So it's a pitch per release. So that's why we're probably going to have more singles come out than albums, but they're all eventually going to be on an album.
On in a collection, a body of work.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm trying to help an artist understand that now. They are itchy fingers to get their CD out there. And from the get go, from the jump, I was like, that is not the smartest thing to do.
You can explain it this way, and we've all done it. You buy a CD, right? Back in the day, you would buy a CD. Sometimes you bought that CD for that one song.
For the one song, right?
That one song. Nothing else ever got played. Like you wore a groove in that one song.
Correct.
Right?
Mhm.
So you want to get everyone's attention with that one song.
Right.
And then you pick another one song
Mm-hmm.
to get that person's attention again, or that crowd, that audience.
Sure.
And then you pick another. And then pretty soon you collectively have these singles of that one song.
Right.
You put all of your best on that one, and you make an album. And you put that out, and you start all over again.
Exactly. That's true.
Again. Because let's face it, we've all done it. We would buy an album or a record or old school. We'd buy a CD back in the day, and you only bought it for that one song.
But back in the day, though, Kevin, here's the truth: almost everything on that album hot.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It wasn't just a one-shotter as it is.
And it is today.
As it is today.
Yeah.
I mean, you get an album and you will wear that thing out. Like for me, Songs in the Key of Life, you can't get me to fast forward on that. Stevie Wonder. No. If it's a Peebo Bryson piece, you can't get me to fast forward.
I'm with you.
No, I'm gonna. If it's an LTD or Jeffrey Osborne, no, I'm gonna. You can't get me to fast forward.
But now you fast forward now from that to today.
Yeah.
And it's like, I really like that song.
I know.
I got to buy all 8 songs to get to that one. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you get the song, and well, I mean, that's the beauty of streaming. I mean, it's again for the user, because we both listen to a lot of music.
Yes.
You can be like, "Ooh, I like this," and then you can create your own playlists and stuff.
Exactly.
And I used to do cassettes. I would buy cassettes at like maybe 2 songs, and I would make my own mixtape. It'd take like a couple of days, but
Yeah.
and then I'd be able to listen to it in the car. So
yeah,
it's kind of like just a nice, faster way of doing that.
it is. It really is. So, and I promised I wanted to ask you about this facet, and then we're definitely going to go into the premiere. As writers, do all of you write and contribute to the music that you guys release, or is there one set point man for writing?
We all contribute, and I think and this is the beauty of what we're discovering now, especially I think this last EP that we put out kind of helped us to define that, fine tune it. We each have our strengths and we each have our weaknesses.
Yep.
I can get an idea started. Kevin can help take it to the next level, or with his sprinkling of all these other ideas that I enhance it, you know.
Sure.
When it comes to, and I tell Kevin this, when it comes to writing a melody, a lead line, that's not my thing. You know, I
Right.
can put a song together, I can produce a track, but Kevin, you can play anything and he'll just start singing and humming.
Wow.
You know, he does his thing, you know, and then Sissy will go ahead and start recording him. She'll hit record on her recording app.
Sure.
And then we're like, so then she'll send that to me, and this is how we kind of did this latest EP and latest song.
Sure.
And then I'm like, ooh, so then I'll lay something down, and then I'll be like, ooh, study that, you know, and when you come into the studio, then we'll do that. So it's really kind of a joint effort. So Kevin might have an idea for a hook, and then Otoy might have an idea for half a verse.
I love that.
I might come up with a second half verse, and now we have this new formula where we're like, hey, why don't you do this, Otoy? And so it's just evolving, but it's like we all chip in, we all you know, with our strengths, and then we work together to just enhance it until it gets to what Kevin calls radio friendly. Each track has to be radio
friendly. Exactly.
Yeah, so that's what we strive for.
So who does the vocals for you? Who's the vocalist? Either of you are vocalists in the group?
Kevin is the vocalist. Yeah, Kevin on the latest track, the new track we just came out with.
I love the vocals, Kevin. Oh my God.
That's actually really me telling Otoy to shut up with the sax when I tell her all right, because she was taking off.
That is too funny. Oh my God. So, but I'm seeing that all three of you are contributors as far as writers to this song. And it was produced by you and Kevin?
Yes.
Yay, look at that. Listen, so what was and then we're going to go right into it. What was the inspiration for the title?
Well, for the title, we had a few different titles, but it was when Kevin got in there and he actually did the vocal work.
Yeah.
And then we were like, you know, kind of revisiting the name of the track. I'm like, no, wait a second. You're saying, come on, come on. I'm like, why don't we just call it Come On? You know, and you're actually singing that in there. And that's how we landed with the title. So it wasn't something that we kind of pre-planned.
Yeah.
I think we had something like, you know, here we go. And the whole idea behind the track was we were playing a couple of shows last year, and I told Kevin, I was like, why do I feel like all of our tracks are kind of mid-tempo? We need something that's gonna be upbeat and this and that. So then I got into the studio, I kind of whipped out this track, and then it took off. But we really actually, for all the things we went through in creating this track, it came together very quickly. And I went through a bunch of headaches. We're going to leave that out of this. Not us. We were on the same page. That's really bad for everybody else. But no, the track came together really, really, I think, above what we all thought it was going to be.
That's cool.
And it was, again, just like, if we're going to go out and do a show, we need to have something that's just going
to
have high energy, and that's what this track did. So that's how this track came into existence.
Well, you guys, Come On is the next is the next thing you are going to hear. Please enjoy. We'll come back and we'll chat about it briefly. You guys enjoy music from Smooth Jazz Alley right here on Indie Artist Reveal Worldwide. I tell you what, that's the kind of song for a wonderful, wonderful trip somewhere where there's lots of water flanking both sides of you. Do you know what I mean? Uh,
Mm,
Come on, come
definitely,
on,
huh?
come on, come on.
I know, I'm serious. It's just a high energy song. It gets you ready, clink, clink. Everybody's drinking and having a good time. It's like,
Yeah,
oh boy, it is on
yeah,
and popping, right? So I
thank you.
love it. It is definitely radio ready. I think you did that. You've got comments saying it's such a sweet crew. It's nice. It is. It really is a wonderful, wonderful song. It was just released when?
On the 13th, it came out on streaming. Yeah, it actually has. It went to radio on the 9th, so we're in our second week at radio,
Yeah.
and it's getting good results. We especially in the second week, I think we're up to we're on 40 something stations, and we just got started, so it's only going to climb. And the streams have been incredible so far. I think it's been out officially since the 13th, so it's just a little bit over the week, and
Yeah.
we're almost at 7,000 streams. So we're an indie artist. That's not bad for an indie artist. So we're
No.
just looking, for some really good stuff with this track.
When it's a great product, it's a great product. And that's, I mean, hands down. I mean, it definitely
thank you very much.
like going to be a front runner. I
Thank
really,
you very much.
I really believe that.
Like,
I
you
am
should have
so
seen the look
excited.
on our. You should have seen the look on our face when we played it, we recorded it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But as a group, we went into the practice studio and we all came in to play it live,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and it felt so.
Did it feel good?
Yeah, it felt real good. Yeah,
Oh my
it took
God.
a few times because when you do a new track, whether it's a cover or it's an original that we
Or an
did,
original?
and you're
Mhm.
playing it for the first time with the group,
Yeah.
it's like okay, it takes a few until we kind of feel the whole vibe.
Mhm.
But we have a great set of musicians in there. Daryl Anders on bass; he's an incredible bassist.
Yes, it is.
We've got our boy Ken Solis on guitar, and it's just the five of us in there. It just it
Felt good.
really came to life, man. Yeah. Yeah, I mean Kevin's a phenomenal drum player, but when I hear him and Daryl play together, I'm just like that just pumps me up, and I'm like, okay, I want to get going.
You want to get a part. You want a part of that party.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Then you get Oto in there, and it's over, man.
And then she just puts the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
I so hate that I couldn't see her tonight. But I hope she gets to watch this in the replay.
Oh, she will.
And yeah, and sis, you are fire. FIYAH. You are fire, and just a power packed creative. And you guys, I'm super excited. What can we expect from you going forward? What's on your plate and for the near future?
Oh boy.
Well, we got
Yeah.
plenty of music we're working on.
Yeah.
And hopefully, folks that are listening will be able to see us live somewhere.
Yeah.
Because we have we signed with a person, a group, an Affinity
Agency,
artist.
yeah.
Affinity artist. Yeah.
And, so hopefully they'll be able to see us live.
Yeah.
But the music we have coming up
Mhm.
after this single,
Yeah.
oh, I can't wait.
We've got some amazing artists. We've got on this album that we're working on. We've got
Yeah.
already Paul Jackson Jr. We've got Brian Bromberg.
Yeah.
Who else do we have, Kev?
Brian Bromberg. We got some more Chris Kamazi.
Chris Kamazi's on there. Yeah, a couple of tracks produced by Matt Godina. He's just an amazing producer. He's
Wow.
playing on there also. So he plays everything, but we get him his real guitar track. He's an amazing guitarist. We get his guitar tracks on there. I don't know. We're not even done yet. I mean, we're sure we're gonna have some more people on there. But the tracks are coming together really, really nice.
Wow. Well, again, this is an amazing track. And, I tip my hat off to you guys. I'm wishing you the best.
Thank you.
And I'm sure there's so much more to come. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And please have us back. And the
Oh, I
audience,
want you back.
we
I
love
mean, I want you all back. I want to see all of you. I want you to
We're
fill
gonna
up.
get Sissy in here.
we'll get this
We'll
here.
get her in here next time.
It'll all come to full circle. You'll know exactly what we're
Man,
talking about.
uh, absolutely, absolutely. Well, we want everybody to connect on the hub, the smoothjazzalley.com website. And I'm sure that there are um, ways for you to connect from there. But just in case, I believe all roads lead to Smooth Jazz Alley, whether
Yes.
it's from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, if you're there, YouTube, wherever, if they're there, Smooth Jazz Alley, and you should find their presence on one of those or, those platforms.
Yes.
So, again, thank you so very much, guys. It was such fun.
Thanks, Sabrina. Yeah, no, this is awesome. I love your platform here. I
It's
didn't know what to
beautiful.
expect. This is really nice.
Thank you
Very nice.
so
Very
much.
professional.
That's
Yes.
super nice.
You gotta come back. I mean,
We can't wait.
you, I don't know what the second. Well, you gave me the name of the second single. Have you slated? Like, is it going to be near the fall ish when you release?
Well, so a lot of this depends on how good this current track does. Because with
Exactly.
radio
Exactly.
promotion, you kind of go the typical
Yeah,
time period is 3 months,
Yeah,
and
we'll
then
lean on
if
it
it
for a
starts
while.
coming off, then we're kind of fading away. If it continues to go up, then we continue. So it really depends on. We're looking
the
at hopefully at the beginning of next year if this track doesn't go
Yeah.
too far, and then
Well,
we're going to be ready to go.
well, I tell you what. So by the end, I'd say when you know something around December,
Okay.
let me know, and I'm going to get you back on the schedule,
But
and we're going
just
to
so
have you
yeah,
among
just
the.
so our audience knows, we have track after track after track ready.
Yeah.
I believe it. I believe that.
So like we're so anxious. So it's not like we have to go in there and create anything. Like
It's
A, B, C,
already
D, E, F,
ready.
G. Yeah, it's ready. We're just
Yeah.
leaning on, come on, and then when
Next.
next,
Yep.
we're
Yeah.
just
Well,
leaning
then
on
the
it.
other caveat too, we just signed with Intervision a few months ago, so we're still getting used
Congratulations.
to working with Intervision and how we can release, how often, and all that stuff. So we're working out a few kinks there, but yeah, we're really excited to be with Intervision.
So your label mate is Kim and Aaron.
Yep.
Blake Aaron.
Yeah.
Blake Aaron and Smooth Jazz Alley.
And
We've
Blake
had
Aaron,
Blake
yeah.
on one of our tracks called Deep Into You.
Deep into you, yeah.
We put
have
Blake
Blake
with Otoe on that one, the Deep Into
Yeah.
You.
Mm-hmm.
And that came out pretty nice. And
Yeah.
Blake will probably be one of the other artists that comes back around.
I'm sure. I'm sure. He's amazing. So
Yes.
amazing. Well, guys, look, thank you again. And I want to say to everybody else, thank you. And the comments, there were some that I didn't get a chance to see. Sharon, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Shelly said she came in late, but she's there. She's definitely going to watch the replay. Ron Ledford, he has come into. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. Without you, there would be no platform. And so I appreciate the smooth jazz industry, the genre, the contemporary jazz artists, and then my family, the Indie Artistryville Worldwide family. Thank you guys so much
Thank
for
you so
loving
much.
on these artists. So listen, remember, what you make happen for others, God definitely will make it happen for you. You guys stay safe, and definitely I want to see you back here on next week. You guys take care.
Bye-bye.